Last year, the Stanford Cardinals surprised UCLA by winning the Pac-10 championship. But UCLA had the last laugh. Behind Mahini Bhardwaj, the Bruins took home their second national championship. Today, they settle the score. Westwood, California. We're on the UCLA campus at Pauley Pavilion, where today, two of the national powers in women's gymnastics face off with one another. It's the UCLA Bruins and the visiting Stanford Cardinals. And hello again, everybody. Barry Tompkins, along with Kathy Johnson-Clark. And Kathy, these two teams, a long history with one another.
They're definitely two quality teams, and the history that you refer to has been good for both teams. Last year's Pac-10 championships was a huge moment for both of them. It was the highlight of the season for Stanford, defeating UCLA. They were better than they were all season. It was incredible. They didn't quite hold on to that kind of form at the Nationals, but UCLA had a wake-up call. They went, whoa, we're talented, we've got depth, we've got everything it takes to win Nationals and win it big, but we better get focused because we can be beat.
Well, that was last year. What about this year? The talent level hasn't dropped off all that much. First of all, you look at UCLA. They have Ani Willis, and when you have Ani Willis, that's a pretty good starting point.
Oh, absolutely. She is dynamic and powerful on all four events, and she is so consistent. You can always count on her to hit and hit big. And Jamie Dancher, she is hot this year. I tell you what, there's not a gymnast in the country that could beat her if she's on, and if she competes in the all-around, she could be the all-around national champion as well. And if you like tens, well, she scored 11 last year and 5 so far this year, so who knows what we'll see today.
That's not too bad. Let's talk about Stanford. I mean, they don't drop off a whole lot either in the talent department.
No. I have to mention Caroline Floor. She is doing incredibly well for Stanford this year. Other gymnasts are working into the all-around, but she's such a beautiful, elegant, consistent gymnast. I think that's somebody we're going to watch today.
All right, well, what this meet really is, it's a barometer. It's going to tell these two teams where they are as they look ahead, both to the conference championship and, of course, down the road to another possible national championship. Stanford and UCLA coming up. Welcome back to UCLA. Barry Tompkins with Kathy Johnson-Clark. We're at Pauley Pavilion. We await the start of the competition between Stanford and UCLA. Let's take a look at the national rankings. And in this sport, maybe more than any other, they really don't give you a true idea of what's what.
Well, they're definitely not indicative of what is to come when nationals come around, because a lot of the teams haven't competed all their gymnasts in the all-around yet. They're resting them. Some of them are injured and will come back as the season progresses. So it's not an indication of what will happen at nationals. It's what's happening right now.
Well, and that is what's happening right now. Stanford 7. There is the new Stanford coach. Kristen Smith came over after being an assistant for 5 years at Arizona State. A very successful program there, of course, in her first year at Stanford. Valerie Condos-Field, she has done just about everything you could ask.
One of the most respected coaches in collegiate gymnastics, and she's done it all. I mean, 3 national titles in the last 5 years.
And 4 times the National Coach of the Year in the last 6 years. And again, a powerhouse UCLA team. Here is the order that we're going to be watching today. Stanford will be on the uneven bars to start things, while UCLA will be on the vault. The second rotation finds Stanford on the vault, UCLA on the bars, and the floor X for Stanford and the balance beam for UCLA in rotation 3. And then, of course, they flop in the 4th and final rotation. Our first vaulter for UCLA is going to be Lindsey Dong, and Lindsey has not quite hit it in all her practice runs, so let's see if she can be a gamer here.
Well, they have a few gymnasts that are going to have to come up and be gamers. UCLA has some injuries. Some of their key players are not competing, and so the good news is it gives some experience to some of the other gymnasts so that they can provide depth maybe later in the season. So it's very good experience for a few of the gymnasts, including Lindsey Dong, who only competed vault 4 times last year in total. Oh, back on the board, but she pulled it out. Boy, she was way, way back on that vaulting board.
That's exactly what she was doing during practice runs.
That makes her, see, she hits right on the tail end of the board and is short on the horse. Very, very hard to block and push up. So it just basically rotated about horse height. The Pike Sukahara.
She's happy. She's happy with good reason. She saved it, didn't she?
You know what the name of the game is? Hit your routine, hit your vault. You can't change the value of it. It's not as highly valued. It's worth a 9.8 maximum. But you know what? They train to go out and be the best that they could be. And everybody's happy with them.
Score over to Kristen Jensen now, who is on the uneven bars for Stanford.
This Stanford team looked very good in warm-ups. Very well trained, looked well prepared. And this will be a good event for them. Bars and beam are really their best events. Keep in mind the judges are looking for those handstands right on top of the bar when they pirouette. And she's going past the handstand position a little bit.
Score for Dong, incidentally, 9-3-5.
There's her release move. Okay, very steady. Very, very steady. As I said, the judges are going to be looking for those handstand positions, the pirouetting handstands, to be right on top of the bar. They're looking for vertical. And she was a little bit past.
A 2001 Scholastic All-American, Jamie.
Second vaulter for UCLA, Jamie Williams. 9-3-5, as we said, for Lindsey Dong.
This will be her first time to compete on the vault. Layout Tsukahara. Not bad, not bad.
Little half step on the landing.
See, the things that will hurt UCLA right now is most of the top schools are trying to get all 10-0 valued vaults. Because you just started a deficit if you don't have it. So their first two vaults right off the bat are starting at 9.8.
Lise LeVay on uneven bars. Lise LeVay, of course, Canadian Olympian, has had a lot of international experience.
We have several gymnasts here who have a lot of international experience, former Olympians. I should say Olympians. You're never a former Olympian, always. I should know better.
9-8-5, the score on uneven bars for Kristen Jensen. Lise LeVay, as we said, a member of the Canadian Olympic team. A lot of Canadian Olympians that we're going to be watching here today in this duel.
Half the Sydney team, just about, is here. Two on UCLA, Michelle Conway and Yvonne Tusek. So it's kind of mini reunion here. Lise LeVay immediately had an impact on Stanford's team last year. Used that experience, competed very well. Big swinger here. Even a little bit away in form. You can see her feet. Oh, very sluggish on that handstand again. Judges looking right on top of the bar is what they want to see. Double layout. Check on the landing. Not a bad routine. I mean, you look at the team, you could say this is exactly what they're trying to do. That's the best they could do at this point. And as the season goes on, obviously what they're working on is trying to clean up the execution and get those handstands on top of the bar.
Right. It's all pointing towards something at the end of the season. This is just really the heart of the season. Looking there at Yvonne Tusek. Vault for Williams, incidentally, 9-4-7-5.
That's a Yurchenko vault, the round-off entry. Now you're going to start seeing some vaults that are valued at 10.0. So we'll immediately jump to a higher range of scores here. She gets right up on top. I've seen her block a little bit higher, but it was a very clean body position in the air, which is impressive, right? There. A little bit of a pike, little knee bend, but we're looking at it in slow motion. Judges don't get to see it. They don't get to see it 2 and 3 times either.
2001 Pac-10 Freshman of the Year, Lindsey Wing.
They look for the overall dynamics of the ball, height, and of course the all-important landing.
Here's a look at Valerie Condos. And as we said, she has done everything that you can do in gymnastics coaching. 4 out of the last 6 years. She's been the National Coach of the Year. Her team has won 3 national championships, 4 conference championships. Kristen Smith just one day hoping to be where her counterpart is.
I think she's going to be a great addition to this Stanford mix. because what Stanford had last year, they had good technique, good execution. They need to just compete better when it counts, like at nationals, and also get some flair on floor. And Kristen's a former dancer, can bring that out.
Lindsay Wing now, the freshman of the year in the Pac-10 conference for LeVay, a 9.625, and judges, of course, did see what you saw.
Lindsay had a terrific freshman season, competing very, very well. Very nice work here. Whoa! But managed to stay on her feet. Definitely over-rotated the double front. She was second place on beam at nationals last year. Earned her first All-American, first team All-American status.
Malia Jones now on vault for UCLA.
Nice to see her back in the lineup. First, their season opener, first competition. During warm-up, she crunched her ankle on this event, on the vault, and didn't even get to compete.
Not bad.
Very clean handspring front.
So Malia Jones, fine job on her vault. We'll jump off the track from here at Pauley Pavilion. We're coming back with more Stanford UCLA in a gymnastics duel. We're in the first rotation, and we've got a lot more to come.
Caroline Fleur.
Welcome back to Pauley Pavilion. We are in the first rotation, UCLA on vault and Stanford on bars. And you look now at Caroline Fleur of Stanford, and you spoke of Caroline, one of the best.
She had a very good meet at their last competition, scoring 3 season-high scores. Look at her form. It's so, oh, right as I say it, she loses it just a little bit with her legs at her feet. Boy, but when she's straight, she gets very straight, all the way through to her toes.
The half step on the landing.
And those are the things you're going to see, hopefully, as the season progresses. We're going to start seeing more and more stuck landings, because that's what it's going to take at nationals. You can't give away those little tenths of a point.
And here is Ani Willis, and you see her average just under a 9.9 on vault this year, number 6 in America, and just terrific in every event.
Hang on tight. We've got to get our camera guy to get ready to lift the camera on the afterflight, because she really could take this up. When the timing's right, she can lock. Boom, there.
Oh,
nice. Very, very nice. Now, I saw a vault just like that. The LSU Alabama meet, and we saw a 10 on that one, so. But to show the point I was making, until you're competing head-to-head, look at that. Nice straight body. Perfect landing. You can't compare scores around the country because every meet scores differently. Their standard is different.
And that speaks to what you were talking about before about the rankings.
Exactly.
9.9 for Willis. So not quite a perfect score, but she'll take it.
Coming up next for Stanford.
The other thing to keep in mind is that there's a kind of a raising of each score. So when you start out big, you can build to the higher scores. It's harder because they started with mid-level scores. It's hard to build on those.
This is Becky Meldrum of Stanford on bars.
Tied for 18th on the bars at the Nationals. Scored a 9.95 in their last meet. Good momentum here. Let's see what she's going to do with it. Full twisted double layup. That's the kind of fight you have to see on those landings. The landing starts in the air. I know that sounds strange, but you really got to start zeroing in on that ground and placing your body in the air to nail it.
She nailed it. So Becky Meldrum liked it. Here's Jamie Dancher. And she's as good as it gets in this event in collegiate gymnastics.
Now look at her average on vault. She's as talented as any gymnast as I've ever seen. Oh, took a little step forward. It's actually prettier in the air than Ani's. Ani's was very powerful, and she absolutely nailed the landing. But if you can be elegant on vault, Jamie is elegant. Look at the hurdle. Very pretty body position. See, she just put her feet down a little bit behind her hips, so her chest was forward, and it just forces you to take that step forward. She was trying to stay really straight going in. I think she thought
And the last
had
competitor
a stick coming
on the
up.
bars for Stanford with a career high.
For Stanford, and the last competitor on bars, Abby Gare.
She redshirted last year. Has competed bars every meet this season.
Last competitor on bars for Stanford, Becky Meldrum, a 9.875. Prior to that, Flora had a 9.8.
Very nice release move. We often see release moves, but not always with a twist. That was pretty. Oh, man.
Landed back on her heels.
Yeah, that was almost like she was just lost. She had so much momentum going in those giant swings.
And finishing up this rotation, we have an exhibition.
Oh, that's too bad. Well,
now this is Natasha Desai, but this will not count in the scoring. It is considered just an exhibition.
but I have to tell you, she is thrilled to be here. She walked on the team. She begged Valerie, let me be on your team, let me be on your team. And she says she is a delight to work with.
That completes the first rotation.
So good story.
Please proceed
Score
to your
will
next
not
event.
count, and I'm sure in this case she's not too unhappy about that. Ani Willis, something special. And so too is Jamie Dancher. We're coming back. We welcome you back to Pauley Pavilion. We're in Westwood. We have come to the end of our first rotation. We'll take a moment to remind you that weeknights at 10:30, it's The Last Word with Jim Rome. Rome telling it like it is on the Nightline Sports Talk Shows. The Last Word with Jim Rome, weeknights at 10:30 right here on Fox Sports Net. So one rotation is in the books, and we take a look at the scores. And remember, they drop off the low score, total the other 5, and here's where we stand.
And not a surprise at all. Stanford is very strong on the uneven bars. It's one of their better events. UCLA is operating on a deficit right now. At least 3 of their gymnasts who would normally be in their vault lineup are not competing for various reasons, most of them being injuries. So it's a weak event for them right now.
So once again, this is a barometer of where these teams are right now. It may not be necessarily where they are come tournament championship, or rather conference championship and NCAA tournament time. First vaulter for Stanford is Alyssa Cooper. UCLA will be on uneven bars and Stanford on the vault.
She's competed for Stanford in the last 2 meets on vault. Very nice landing. That was definitely the best part of the vault. It's a piked front. That scored from a 9.9, so a decent start value.
Good start for Stanford, for Alyssa Cooper.
Very tight pike, just had to bend her legs because she needed a little more rotation.
On the bars, Valerie Velasco of UCLA. Velasco, a senior.
Oop, almost went over on that handstand, pulled it back though. I think this is awesome. She was voted UCLA's most improved gymnast in both 1999 and 2001. And a very important part of this team. She's not one of the big stars, but she's somebody they can count on.
And that first person on bars, or in any discipline for that matter, kind of sets the standard for everybody else.
Crucial. It's the leadoff batter. They got to get on. They got to get it started with as high a score as possible so they can build.
I like that. Baseball analogy. That's good. Katie Herbert, Cooper, the first vaulter for Stanford, a 9.6, and now Katie Herbert. Katie, also a senior from Chandler Heights, Arizona.
Like when she landed, she was still facing the ground instead of landing up high and nailing it. But as you can see by the reaction, pretty thrilled with the landing, that's for sure.
Her teammates loved it too.
Yeah, she has nice block here. sets it up. Not quite a straight body position as we saw, say, from Ani Willis or Jamie Dancher. So that'll be the difference in the score. Right there, she's piking down and then lands with her chest down.
Still waiting on the scores of Valerie Velasco, and that's the reason for the momentary delay in the bars competition. Katie Herbert getting the congratulations of all her teammates, and why not? 9.725, it's a very good score for her.
Malia Jones.
Now Malia Jones of UCLA on uneven bars.
Ordinarily, by this time in the season, she'd be hitting her stride, because she usually competes quite a bit for this team. But the ankle injury in the warm-ups of the first competition has kept her out.
Score for Valerie Velasco, who was the first on bars for UCLA, 9.7. Malia Jones very loose here.
There's a handstand. This is a really strong event for UCLA, especially when they've got their big guns in. They have a lot of depth so that they can draw upon and replace when needed.
Taking a look at this dismount. How'd she do here?
Very, very nice. A double layout. Watch for a straight body. Very good at fighting for the landings.
Mandy Delgado will be the next vaulter for Stanford. Katie Herbert, as we said, a 9.725.
Very consistent on this event.
Good speed.
Now we're seeing some difficulty. Piked front with a half twist. That's worth a 10. Really want to look for the gymnast to spot the ground here to try and nail this landing right there, and she doesn't quite have her eyes on the floor. If you can get up a little bit higher, rotate around your head right there, and then look for the floor, you have a better chance of sticking it. Still not a bad vault, though.
No. She gets very good speed down the runway. 9.8 for Delgado. And we're waiting for the score on bars of Malia Jones.
UCLA on the bars, ranked 9th in the nation with an average of 9.865. Ani Willis.
9.8 for Malia Jones, and now Ani Willis. Ranked, as you see, number 9 in America.
She was second on the bars at NCAA. She just does big gymnastics. I mean, huge amplitude. Right there, look at that, way above the bar. The judges are looking for them to catch the bar shoulder height, and she's well above that. Even on the transitions, there's big air. Very, very well done. Little bitty things. Little past handstand on one of her pirouettes, and taking a little baby step right here.
All
told, not bad, though, for Ani Willis.
Impressive release move.
Strong. Kendall Beck on vault for Stanford. At a 9.9, as you see, back on the 25th of January against Arizona State.
Redshirted her freshman year. She was a former national team member and a member of the World Championship team that competed in Busan. Nice full twist and tuck position. Still valued out of a 10.0, though. Just like the layout.
So while we await the score of Kendall Beck, we'll jump off the track here. We're in the second rotation, Stanford and UCLA. We're coming back to Polly after this. Welcome back to Polly. We're in the second rotation. UCLA on uneven bars and Stanford on vault. And the score for Ani Willis a moment ago, 9.9, the best vault, about the best performance on bars thus far. Now Yvonne Tusek on bars.
And you're looking at the defending bar champion from the NCAAs last year. And that's out of a field of very good bar performers. Nice variety of skills in this routine. Very nice. Now with the bars out so wide, teams are starting to look a little bit the same. Everybody's doing the same move, so it's nice when you see a little change of that. Very nice. I like all the skills in the routine, and the landing was great. Only tiny little bitty form deductions in there, but they're teeny.
Really stuck the landing, though.
I have to tell you, it's a good feeling when you stick your landing. It's a pretty powerful moment.
One I would never know. Caroline Fleur now for Kendall Beck, the last vaulter for Stanford, 9.725. Stanford had a slight lead after the first rotation. UCLA in the midst of pretty good competition on bars here. So it puts the onus here on Caroline Fleur.
She tied for first at the Pac-10s last year on this event, and tied for the all-time school record of a 9.975. Pretty good vault.
Kristen Smith liked it. She seems to like it. Little hop on the landing.
Difficult vault to land perfectly. It's a lot of practice, a lot of timing, and just a feel for it. Got to hit that laid out position as you're going forward so you don't see the ground. You just have to know where it is. Good kinesthetic awareness. A little bit forward on it.
Tusek's performance on bars, 9.95, highest score of the day in any discipline thus far.
Now on the bronze, ranked first nationally on
I can read the future, Barry.
Yeah, you're right.
She's just set up a big score for Jamie Dancher if she hits, because Jamie is by far the best bar worker in the competition right now, because her form surpasses everyone. And she's got the difficulty. Look how tight her legs are. The toe point, she's very, very strong. An excellent technique. Very well trained on this event.
Not bad.
You have to go up. You have to go up. I don't know where they'll go, but it was a better routine. It's cleaner, tighter, and bigger.
You can see what the crowd wants, but 10 may be a little bit high.
And now the last scoring competitor on the ball, fourth scamper at a 2000 level 10
I
national.
love the tight form. Look how she squeezes her knees together.
Shelley Goldberg now, the last vaulter for Stanford. 9.825 for Caroline Fleur a moment ago.
She has very explosive power on this and a beautiful piked position. I mean, toes pointed. She looks like a diver off the high dive in that pike position. Very pretty. Nicely done. That's worth a 9.9. So that's the maximum that it can score. But look how perfect she is in this position right there. Very nice. She could have opened up just a little sooner. Might have pulled off a stuck landing. Well, I hear the crowd reaction over there. What is it? Yeah, they did it.
There's a 10.
You know what? They almost had to. And I could pick it apart and tell you the couple little places you could have taken a tiny deduction, but it was that much better.
All-American on the bars last year, Donnie Thompson.
And there is a little discrepancy about that 10. On one side they had it 9.95, on the other side they had a 10.
And that's what I think it should be.
Yeah.
One judge gave her a 10, the other gave her a 9.95.
Right.
So it averaged
9.975.
That's what I would have done, because I can't quite justify the 10 when I could see the little tiny errors. She's got some big swing, too. There's a good landing.
That's pretty good.
She has beautiful technique on that event.
Now, if you went up on the last one, what do you do here?
Maybe go the same. It's hard to say. Her reverse hack is beautiful. Dismount is gorgeous. And that's a real stick. That was a definite real stick.
So UCLA with a terrific bars set here. We're coming up to the third rotation. We'll have the score of Donnie Thompson when we come back to Paulie after this. Welcome back. We are halfway to the finish line. After 2 rotations, UCLA, with a strong performance on the uneven bars, has taken the lead over Stanford. Want a reminder that all season long, Fox Sports Net is your place to turn for all the latest news, highlights, and information on the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Weeknights, it's totally NASCAR, your exclusive all-access garage pass with 30 minutes of NASCAR news and highlights, plus the latest developments on what's gearing up for this week's race. Totally NASCAR, weeknights at 6, only on Fox Sports Net. The Fox Networks, your home for NASCAR
after 2
all
rotations.
season.
Second place with a 97.725. Stanford, and in first place with
So we move now into third rotation. As you look at the scores from rotation number 2, strong performance on bars. They'll drop off the 9.7 of Velasco. The other 5 totaling 49.525. Considerably better than Stanford had done on the vault. So UCLA with a slight edge now. Now we'll move on to rotation 3 with Stanford in floor exercise and UCLA on the balance beam. We'll go first to the balance beam. This is Donnie Thompson. Incidentally, Donnie's score on the uneven bars, which we didn't give you before we went away to last break, 9-9.
Boy, this is a gymnast any coach would like on their team. Consistent, just rock solid. It's nice during the last rotation at Nationals. Bruins had a very small margin going into the last event. Balance beam. Donnie led off with a career high 9-9, setting up an incredible rotation and then clinching the title at Georgia.
This particular discipline, I think, a real make or break discipline in almost any competition.
You just have to have incredible nerve and confidence and a willingness to be aggressive on an event that leaves no room for error, none. And it's very hard to fight the temptation to just try not to make mistakes. And that's not the right approach. You have to be aggressive and go after everything.
To really appreciate how difficult this event is too. You and I have talked about this for years, but I don't think television really brings the difficulty. What a tough there.
Yeah, that was strange. I don't know, did she hit the beam when she stepped back? It was hard to tell from this angle. She definitely stepped back. That's a deduction, but I can't tell if she actually went into the balance beam. Let's see if we can see. By the look on her face, I think she even fell back into the balance beam. That's too bad. Interesting dismount, swing through, going forward. Now look, she stepped back. Yep.
Yeah.
Banged into the beam. That actually saved a fall. So I don't know what the deduction will be.
Floor exercise now. And Katie Herbert.
Anxious to see the choreography. Kristen came in and the first thing she did was re-choreograph everybody's floor routine. A lot of floor routines to do at the beginning of one season. All new music, all new dance. music, a very dramatic, powerful routine.
I think she liked it. I was watching Kristen Smith, her coach, and she was doing the routine with her.
I figured so. That's
She
like a
seemed to
dancer.
like it.
Jamie Dancer.
So we'll get the score on floor X in a moment. Jamie Dancer now on the beam. I started to say before that you really can't appreciate how difficult this is watching it on television.
Jamie is an excellent beam worker. It's not her favorite event. In fact, she was not ready to start competing on it again. After retiring from elite competition, she competed in the Olympic Games in Sydney, a very high-pressure year. And when she came to UCLA, she just wasn't ready to get back up there and put herself under that kind of pressure. Now she's ready. And though for most teams in college, the all-around is an afterthought to them. Their focus is team competition, their team members first, and all their energies go toward that. But there is an all-around at stake, and she's very capable of winning it. But you have to be deep. Doing a very, very nice job. To the end, swing through, off the end with a 1.5 twist. It's a cool little dismount.
Quick word from Valerie Condos. We'll have the scores when we come back. We'll jump off the track for just a moment. We're in the third rotation, UCLA at Stanford. Still a lot more to come and a meet to decide on the other side of this. Welcome back to Pauley Pavilion. We are in the third rotation. Competition continuing here between Stanford and UCLA. And before we get back to the competition, let's look back for a moment. Great success over the last couple of years for these UCLA Bruin women. No question about it.
Miss Mohini Bhardwaj, who after her stunning collegiate career went on, tried out for the World Championship team for the United States, made it, and won a medal over there. Kristen Parker, that's who they're missing here in this competition. They're missing stuff like that. Big ball, great landing, but boy, it led to national titles back-to-back.
Can't do it any better than that. Valerie Condos teams, as you see, the banner that hangs here in the rafters at Pauley Pavilion. A lot of championship banners hanging in the rafters here. And he put up there, of course, by the Wizard of Westwood, John Wooden. But that's pretty impressive. 3 national championships for that lady right there. Ani Willis now on the beam. Bring you up to date. Malia Jones had a 9.25. Jamie Dancer, 9.875 for Stanford and Florex. Lindsay Wing, a 9.675.
They have that one fall. They'd like to not count that score. Unfortunately, Malia Jones fell. She was ranked 5th nationally on that event. More important, they want to pick up for that in their team score because they did so well on the uneven bars. Coming back, that was their high score of the season.
As we said, this is the event that really is the make or break event because you can lose big points, as Malia Jones suffered.
And you can also apply pressure on this event. You go and have a great session on beam, it always puts pressure on the team that then has to follow on the balance beam.
Nobody knows more about that than you. In fact, it was right here, wasn't it? In this very building.
You're right. Yeah. In another life. In
another life, yes. I knew you
in a land
too.
far, far away. Okay, it wasn't that long.
Talking about the Olympic medal that then Kathy Johnson won.
Oh, that was a beautiful front. Very confident. Oh, right as I say it. Just wavers a little to the side. Gotta love her strength and power. Makes it exciting. Look how high the double tuck is.
She's all business out here, too. time for celebration later for Ani Willis.
This is just picture perfect. That is so nice. Watch the perfect timing. Push. And then very nice air awareness.
Caroline Fleur on floor X, and we'll, of course, we'll give you the score for Ani Willis as soon as it comes available.
Stanford has a very nice variety of floor musics and choreography, and that's something that Kristen Smith said she was striving for. Quite nice. Very pretty routine. Former coach at Stanford, Mark Cook, did an amazing job over his 4 years of building this program, and now I can already see Kristen Smith's fingerprints on this. Performance quality is already better.
One more look at the last pass.
I really like her style. It's very elegant, even in her tumbling.
Now it is Yvonne Tusek, and the score for Ani Willis on beam 9.85.
Nice score to build on here. Want to get the momentum going again. Yvonne is truly an original. She's very unique in her moves, both on beam and floor exercise. For you gymnastics buffs out there that might remember, Elvira Sadi, famous Soviet gymnast years ago, gorgeous on floor, was her coach in Canada and helped her develop her unique style. And she's continuing to thrive at UCLA, because that is one of Valerie Conda's expertise. Her choreography and style.
So that is Yvonne Tusek. Take a little look at one of the early passes of Tusek.
Well, it's sure nice to have the level of experience when you have the Olympians on your team who know how to compete under pressure and can just call upon it when they need it. Nice double twist, and more important, don't move on the landing.
And she didn't. Shelley Goldberg now, floor X, 9.775 the score for Caroline Fleur a moment ago for Stanford.
Here's one springy gymnast. Go try that, Barry.
No, no, thank you.
Not even into water?
It hurts me even to watch it.
tumbling, and she's good at it.
Yeah, didn't waver in that last tumbling pass either. You always talk about sometimes you get tired.
And this is the best part. You can't see the interaction, but in the routine, she actually sometimes looks over at her teammates, and they're just all smiles. Watch this. Unbelievable height. Right there. Look at that. I mean, that is well done, technically, and just way up there.
So now, Alyssa Beckerman. The score, incidentally, for Yvonne Tusek a moment ago, 9-8-5. Same score as Ani Willis put up. So UCLA hanging in there despite the 9-2-5 of Malia Jones. Need another good performance here from Alyssa Beckerman.
This is a beautiful beam worker when she's on. Very, very elegant. She was an alternate for the 2000 Olympic team in Sydney. The way they selected the Olympic team last year, they actually could have selected the final 2 spots, and I actually almost leaned towards selecting Alyssa for this event because she's so gorgeous when she's on. Very elegant, very flexible. I mean, all the things that look pretty on beam, she does well. Just now finding her stride in collegiate gymnastics. As a freshman, she's getting over injuries and just trying to get used to college and find out what's expected of her and figuring out how to train, though not quite as intensely, but still, it's still significant training in college that you have to do to be accountable to your team and to fulfill your talent. So she's getting there.
And we'll see what the judges think. Here's another look at the dismount.
Everything is just very pretty. Even if it's not the most difficult, it's very pretty.
Lise LeVay now of British Columbia, Canada.
Somebody who knows how to perform, interact with the audience.
Incidentally, 9.875 for Shelley Goldberg for Stanford, preceding LeVay. Many big collegiate teams, at the end of floor, you think they've all done it to the exact same music. But they're very different, showing a very different quality as well in the dance. Kept it in bounds.
Just barely.
Yeah, you're right.
And I stress there's no deduction for everybody's routine looking the same or sounding the same. It's just, I think, nice for an audience and nice for people who really enjoy gymnastics.
I agree. It gives the judges a different look, too. Watch this last pass came very close to the line.
This is when you think their heels and toes have eyes. They know right where that line is. You can touch it. You just can't go over it.
And then, of course, the congratulations of her teammates. And we await the score for Lise LeVay, and we'll give it to you on the other side of this. Lise LeVay of Stanford, as Stanford has now completed its floor exercise, so too has UCLA completed the beam. They'll flip-flop now. Stanford will be on the beam, UCLA on floor X when we come back. Welcome back. 3 rotations in the book now, and you can see UCLA with what would be considered, I would say, a rather commanding lead over Stanford now, with only 1 rotation remaining. A reminder, looking for the perfect way to spend your evenings? Well, introducing the Best Damn Sports Show, period, with host Chris Rose, Tom Arnold, and a bunch of ex-jocks. It's the only show that gives you sports, comedy, commentary, scores, and highlights. So kick back, relax, and enjoy the Best Damn Sports Show, period. Now available weeknights at 11 p.m. only on Fox Sports Net. Fourth and final rotation upcoming now as we take a look at the results of the 3rd rotation. And again, UCLA excellent on beam.
Yes, they definitely did the job they needed to do on balance beam, and an uncharacteristic fall from Malia Jones. Normally very solid on that event.
Picked her up, though, because remember, they dropped that score off and totaled the other 5, and the other 5 were just fine, thank you very much. So the final rotation finds UCLA now on floor exercise and Stanford on the balance beam. And we are set to begin the competition here with Stanford on the beam and UCLA on floor X.
Floor 9.925,
Malia Jones for UCLA in floor exercise.
I'm sure she's feeling a little bit of nerves. This is the first time all year she's competing in floor exercise. I misspoke earlier. She actually, the last 2 meets, did bars and beam, and bars, beam, and vault in one of them. Because she's had very little experience, and first time for this floor exercise.
Incidentally, the first woman in floor exercise, Jamie Williams, a 9.775. And that's a pretty good score to start with.
It does help to be in front of your home crowd, but this team knows how to perform.
And a pretty good crowd here for an afternoon. Beautiful weather outside, and these good folks come here to watch some excellent dual meet gymnastics competition.
Doesn't this music make your heart pound to the beat? I love it. I'm trying to think, if I were doing the floor exercise, would it slow my heart rate down? You'd like to think. Hopefully, so it's not beating like crazy by the end of the routine. Very nice. So many people don't realize that the floor exercise is it's stamina. You have got to work on that wind so that you feel strong at the end of the routine.
Well, you always taught, over the years, I remember you telling me that last tumbling run can be very, very tough.
Absolutely, depending on what kind of difficulty you're doing at the end. I mean, sometimes your arms feel like they weigh about 300 pounds.
Yeah, Valerie Condas liked it a lot. Awesome, she said. Here's Katie Herbert, Stanford, on the beam. Becky Meldrum and Mandy Delgado have preceded her on the beam. Beck a 9.45 and Delgado a 9.65. So Stanford running out of time and running out of numbers here.
But they're doing well. They're doing their job. Very steady, very smooth. As I said, I think these two teams are very good for each other. Stanford comes in well prepared. That pushes UCLA. And UCLA's level. I mean, they have a very high standard at UCLA when you're recruiting Olympians and you have that level of talent. That's always inspiring. But they have to do the job. And so, most important, not just your big guns, you have got to have the support when people need to step in. And that's what Val Condos Field is expecting now from all her athletes. But Stanford's doing a great job. Very pretty. Whoa, that's a That's as low as you can squat and not sit down, but she pulled it out. Very nice 1.5 twist. Take some leg strength there. Just don't go all the way down. I love this dismount. Swings it through. 1.5 twist. Just stands it right back up.
Yep.
Almost like an elevator. Take me back up, please.
On floor X now, Alyssa Beckerman, 9-8 for Malia Jones, and that's a very good score.
This is another first time for Alyssa to compete on floor exercise in a year and a half. She hasn't competed since the Olympic trials on floor exercise in 2000. Listening to her and Val talking, and Alyssa wanted to know her character. What's my character? She says, think 4-inch heels.
I like it.
Glitter, rhinestone. She's a ballroom dancer. Fake eyelashes. They'll all be very, very pleased. Nice to have her on floor. Says, look at Val.
That's great. She gave her a big pep talk just before she went out there, and whatever she said seems to have worked.
Next up on the beam.
This is what Val's so good at. Her rapport with her athletes is so respectful and so supportive, and yet she's ready with a kick when she needs to. I mean that figuratively.
She's more jacked up, I think, than Alyssa was. Back to the beam, and Caroline Fleur.
I watched her in warm-ups. Does this event very... Oh, no, I shouldn't have said anything. Easily, I know it. Every time I start to compliment someone. Oh, she's very lovely on this event. Very smooth, very soft. Which is a nice quality, actually.
Saved it.
Put you on the spot, since you're not an expert.
I certainly am not. You got that part right.
Can you see the difference in styles among all the gymnasts?
Yeah, actually I can. And I think really, to tell you the truth, it's only because I've been sitting next to you for all these years. No, it's true.
No, it's nice to see, because there have been some competitions that I've been at where some of the teams, they start to look all the same. They start to develop the exact same style. And these two teams in particular really keep their own unique style. And I like it. Makes it interesting. Good job.
Caroline Fleur. And we'll come back. Just a couple of performers left here in the fourth rotation. Don't go away. 9.875 for Beckham. Welcome back to Pauley Pavilion. Barry Tompkins, Kathy Johnson-Clark. We're in Westwood, California. Fourth and final rotation on the floor exercise. Yvonne Tusek of UCLA.
Just talked about style. She's loaded with it. And isn't afraid to be different, unique, interesting. You have to be bold.
Boy, this whole floor exercise for UCLA has been sensational.
I think both teams have to be commended for the amount of time they put into the choreography. It's not just about tricks. It's entertainment, and not just the cheap kind of entertainment. I mean, anybody can shock people, but really take the time to choreograph things that actually make sense to the music. It's nice.
No, it's been very entertaining in general. I mean, I just think what both these coaches have done, and these two teams both, I think, are going to make a lot of noise as this gymnastics season goes on. UCLA, I'll tell you, as we look at Lindsey Wing here, UCLA is very loosey-goosey right now.
Second on balance beam at nationals. In a very difficult finals. Everyone competing very, very well just to qualify. It's a very serious, intense gymnast. They all are, and they take their gymnastics seriously. Also take their academics incredibly seriously.
Well, both these schools, you better do that. Again, you would know.
I said, I mean, take Stanford. Once they make their decision to go to Stanford, you know where their priorities are as well. She says the first thing they do, they finish this, books are open. They're studying on the way home.
Yeah, I can recall making many trips with Stanford athletes, and they read actual books with real print as opposed to pictures.
Very good routine. Boy, nice job all the way around.
Again, a look at Lindsey Wing.
Great shot to see just how narrow that balance beam is. And watch her making little corrections. I don't know if you can see that, but if you've worked balance beam, you certainly can see it. Double twist dismount. Very well trained.
On the floor, Ani Willis for UCLA. 9-9 the score for Yvonne Tusek. So scores going up here. 9-7-7-5, 9-8, 9-8-7-5, 9-9 so far for UCLA.
Now, in all her other events, you see her power, her strength, her technique. Now we get to see her personality. This is where she really shines, and you get to see who Ani Willis is.
Smile. This was a shot in the arm for them. They've had some struggles the last few weeks. Injuries to key people. Oh, it's all good here today for UCLA.
This is just easy. I mean, it's so fun to watch gymnastics done with this ease.
Lise LeVay for Stanford, the final Stanford performer on beam.
shows you the dramatic shift and the different kind of focus you have from floor to balance beam. It's what makes gymnastics so challenging. One of the things, and many things that make it so challenging. But the events are so different. She was off on the first one. I didn't think there was any way she could pull that second one off. And I'm one to say never say die, but he's definitely off. It's more difficulty than a lot of the gymnasts here are doing, though. And 2 layouts in a row. Got the encouragement of her teammates.
Tough routine.
Yeah, too bad. And she pulled it back together and was pretty solid for the rest of the routine. Need to pull this around just a little bit more. A little under-rotated.
And the final performer of the day, and appropriately so, Jamie Dancher of UCLA. All she's done in this particular discipline is record 3 straight perfect 10s. And there is room, a 9-9 for Ani Willis. Tuzek also a 9-9. Here's Dancher.
That's pretty.
Unique.
Bringing back some break dancing.
Yeah.
Was that the 80s? Is just a phenomenally talented gymnast who loves to perform, is competitive. You put all those things together, I don't know, it might add up to 10.
Crowd thinks so. There is room for improvement on Willis 9-9 and Tuzek's 9-9. In any case, the outcome of this meet is not in doubt at all.
A lot of the 10s I see in college, I can usually find some deductions. The worm move. That takes some coordination. Boy, the spring in her legs and her technique together are just beautiful.
Yeah, and that was her last tumbling run. And you always talk about how fatigue can set in. No such animal here. So now it's in the hands of the judges for Jamie Dancher, 3 times in a row, a perfect 10, and the stage seems set for perhaps another.
Okay, who do you have a question for?
And there's only a handful of gymnasts who perform the double layout in the opening run that she did. And no one does it better than she.
Two judges, and they will average it. And one judge has said 10, which we can see, and now it depends on the other.
Yep.
Perfect 10s. There it is.
She got it.
Okay.
No, it's old hat.
Yeah, that's right, a routine 10, 4 times in a row, and that's a school record for her. She has 12 perfect 10s in her career here at UCLA. So UCLA puts an exclamation point at the end of an outstanding competition in this duel with Stanford. We'll come back, wrap it up after this. Welcome back to Pauley Pavilion. Here is the final score, and UCLA is a winner. And I think perhaps most impressively, Kathy, they really finished it with a flourish. Floor X was their best discipline, and Amy Dancher at the end of perfect 10 couldn't have ended better for UCLA.
This was definitely a big shot in the arm for them. They needed this. They've struggled a little bit lately. And now, even though they don't have Kristen Parker back in the lineup, Kristen Maloney, when they do, they now know they've got good depth again.
And just 3 terrific performances at the end. In fact, 4 terrific performances. Beckerman with a 9.875. That set the table for 2-sec. Then Willis with a 9.9 to follow 2-second. Dancher, of course, perfect for UCLA. UCLA wins this duel. We've got a couple more things to tell you about before we get out of Dodge, so don't go away. We're coming back to Pauley Pavilion right after this. So UCLA is the winner, and they win rather handily over Stanford in this duel. I don't know what it portends down the road, but today it was all UCLA.
Absolutely, and Jamie Dancher is just as hot as ever. Not only are her scores huge, because the scores in college are very, very high to begin with. She has great scores, but she's doing a high-quality gymnastics.
And she doesn't have to take a backseat really to any of her competitors either. Ani Willis, terrific performance today. Alyssa Beckerman, absolutely sensational. All around for UCLA, an excellent win over Stanford. Stanford will still be there come the conference championships, and I'm sure will still be a player down the road as well. It's a wrap for us from here at Pauley. For my partner, Kathy Johnson-Clark, I'm Barry Tompkins. So long, everybody.